It is very key.
Very key, very key.
Mr. Shito, I think that, you know, what comes to mind here, you recall Sri Lanka, the Tamil Tigers, and how it started even in the 70s. First, it was a non-violent group, and how they moved on, taking over some territories. And in 2002, they started a peace process that lasted for almost about 4 years, and it broke in 2006, and violence erupted again. For us not to have, you know, a similar situation, that is why we're having this discussion, so that ultimately the Chibok girls are released and we don't have a breakdown of law and order again. Taking it from this week, which we're very hopeful that something fantastic may happen, how can we sustain all of this discourse, whether between the government and the group, or between people from all divide, to the extent that we don't have, well, the insurgency again, especially in those 3 states?
Well, I think the first thing is for us to be united in terms of unity of purpose. You have to see this as something that affects everybody.
Irrespective of your region.
Yes. Secondly, we should stop playing politics about this. It's about survival. Thirdly, we should also stop trading blames. It has happened, it has happened. The reality is that today, about this Boko Haram insurgency, is that all of us have wronged each other one way or the other. We have wronged the insurgents who have wronged Nigerians. You understand me? We should come from that perspective and then say, oh, we want peace. All of us have a blame to play. You know, you can trace what has happened to a breakdown of law, due to breakdown of law and order. Some have said, okay, it's due to, you know, intelligence failure. Some have attributed it to poverty and underdevelopment. All of these variables have a role to play in what has happened. Some have seen elements of politics in it. You know, ethnicity, you know, religion. So a lot of it, all of these issues are involved. So if we want to solve it, there must be a multi-dimensional approach to solving this problem. And including ceasefire, including amnesty, including forgiveness, including swapping of, you know, prisoners in return for, you know, the return of Chibok or whatever. All of these options must be toyed with. It's not a single option that can solve what has happened here, because it's multidimensional.
Let's look at the role of the third party, which you say is very crucial in this.
Yes.
This is a third party that, I mean, before now, there was this talk about how people move from that country into Nigeria, how some Nigerians think that the country or the third party should have done a lot more than what they're doing. And so you wonder, well, how do we accept that, okay, well, it's Chad that is brokering this, because there are those who even say, look, this group has major base in Chad.
Let me tell you, this group has not only major base in Chad, this group has major base in all the neighboring countries that surround Nigeria. This group has even major base within Nigeria. Some major forests within Nigeria. I've said it. You are dealing with elements who are largely unseen, who operate unconventionally. You are dealing with people who are prepared to die. You and I are probably afraid of death. Because you can see, as part of this insurgency, you know, the rise in suicide bombing. How do you imagine a human being will say, okay, I want to kill people and kill myself? So these are the kind of people you are dealing with. Also, and then you should interrogate the question, why do people feel so aggrieved to the extent that they want to blow the entire human race out of existence? You understand? This is the kind of people you are dealing with. That is why you should salute the efforts of the military and the security forces. You and I can sit here in the comfort of this room and start doing analysis. There are people on the field who are dying daily. For you and I to have peace, you must recognize the efforts of those people. We must sympathize with those people. We must identify with those people. Because most of us who do armchair criticisms here, when we hear shout here, we take cover. We go, I mean, How many of us are prepared to remove our wig and gown, our ties and all our suits to go and face the battle? So I think we are talking about serious issues here. And I've said it before, and I will continue to emphasize it here. All other issues, you take this backseat for now. I think the emphasis now should be security, security, and security. I've seen elements talking about 2015 and all of those issues here and all that. Yeah, it's important for us to govern, but we can only govern ourselves if the environment is secure.
But that communication bit, which you said, it will also take some time before the information trickles down to maybe all the groups that exist. Where does that put the negotiating parties? Because, for instance, if they started negotiating, and one of the requests, as we heard the CDS say, that maybe they will just stand down. So what if, assuming they lower their guard and the other group attacks, and you wonder, so what do they do?
No, you see, you should imagine that a crisis that has taken this length of time to prosecute is indeed very protracted. It's a crisis that has been on for a very long time. You do not expect that the solution will be immediate. There will be, this negotiation has been going on for a long time without you and I knowing. That shows the government is working. And you see, and you can imagine that this is not something that you just wake up and say, oh, down tools, and the thing will end up just within a day or a week. Negotiation is ongoing. It's an ongoing process. The insurgents will also watch out to see whether the federal government is committed in terms of. So that's why you see what the Chief of Defense Staff came on here to do is salutary. He came on here to say all the security agencies must key in, the services must key in, and then information is being passed to troops on the field to withdraw. That's, you know, the insurgents are listening to all that. They are very, very sophisticated. We are dealing with insurgents who are really sophisticated in terms of weaponry, in terms of funding, and in terms of logistics. If you ask me, in terms of tactics. So I think we should not underrate these people. People who can, you know, get video tapes to emerge from nowhere, in spite of the advance in technology, you cannot trace it. People who can capture, who can emerge from the forest and capture 200 guests, and up till now, in spite of international support, you are here to look at them. Then you must know that these are people who are operating with all kinds of strategies. And you must be prepared, you know, to deal with that problem first as a major step.
You know, part of the narrative that popped up in all of this negotiation was when they talked about the Chibok girls' release, which is everyone looks forward to all of those. At the risk of maybe signposting this as maybe a hallmark or a key benefit of this negotiation, what then happens? Because look at one of the papers here now. It's talking about hours to Chibok girls' release. Uncertainty, expectations are high. So what if people get fixated on the release of the girls and maybe in the light of these negotiations and it takes longer than they expect and then the confidence begins to wane? What happens at that stage?
I think the concern being shown by Nigerians for the fate of the Chibok girls is understandable and is salutary. Have you imagined if any of those girls were to be your daughter? How will you feel? You will not even be stabilized at the workplace to work. We are talking of 200 girls, promising girls, abducted. That's a threat to education. It's a threat to survival. So the concern being expressed by those who are even demonstrating shows the humanity in us. Government should not see those who are demonstrating as anti-government. No. It should be seen as patrons. Obi Ezekwesili, for instance, is a woman that I'm proud of. You understand me? And all those women out there, sitting there daily, minding other people's business because of the release of Chibok girls. should be accommodated, should be celebrated, should be appreciated. I think our environment is so polluted today that whatever uprising from the opposition is seen as criteria. You understand me? And then even whatever achievement government makes is downplayed. I think we should rise beyond this level of partisanship.
You mean the way we did with the Ebola?
Yeah, yes. We should rise beyond this partisanship. For God's sake, Nigeria is bigger than all of us. All of we will play a role. In the First Republic, some people played their roles. Most of them are no longer alive. In the Second Republic, there's those who played roles who have left the stage. Some people are playing roles now. The future generation people are coming to also play a role. No matter how, we should realize that this country is bigger than all of us. And so we should reduce the level of partisanship and look at issues much more objectively. People those who are campaigning for the release of Chibok girls are carrying out a patriotic duty. And government too should be appreciated for what government is doing in terms of, fighting the insurgents. And then the president himself, I'm sure he has gone around several places at the level of ECOWAS, the level of African Union, the level of the Commonwealth, the level of the United Nations. He has taken this battle to the international arena. So all these are efforts. Because I believe that all of us have a stake in this country. And beyond trading blames, beyond politicking, we should know that this country, its survival is greater than all of us. And we should work towards that objective.
Thank you, Mr. Wahab Shitu. He's a legal practitioner and a lecturer in law. We'll be back after this break. Don't go away.